So we recorded a version of Variant 5 from the ballet Borderlands, which was made for Wayne McGregor for San Francisco a couple of years ago, and it was a re-record with the Philharmonic in Liverpool, which was a great experience to hear something that we had made all those years before come to life again in a new way. Working with Wayne is always a very open and creative process, and he trusts the people he works with to get on with what they do best. And so you feel that trust, and it's generally where some of the best work comes from, I feel. Yeah. So the process with Wayne is quite often that you meet at the beginning, you discuss the general mood and the general palette that you're thinking about. You'll both go away in kind of your separate worlds, and he'll have in his mind the dance company and what type of physicality they have and what they're going to bring to it, and he has that understanding. We have no understanding of the company or you know, necessarily who we're going to be working with. So then he'll go and make some objects, and he'll discuss maybe various points at which we'll have different movements and different types of things, and then we'll go away and make a load of stuff. We come back together, but what we didn't realise, I think, when we did this, which was the first big full length that we'd done, was that he has so little time with the dancers. So it might be a case of it's 3 weeks before, you know, we've made the music kind of months before, which is great because then you go, he says, oh, I'm happy, that's fine, now I have to go and make the work. But it's kind of that process, and then he'll come back if it's a case of we need to rejig this or juggle that around. But I find that it's a very freeing process with him. It's a really great opportunity to be part of a collaboration with so many other artists from so many different walks of life over such a long period of time. To see this stuff collated together has been really exciting. Seeing it all come together, seeing the different types of artists that are on there, and also the different phases of Wayne's kind of reincarnation, so that he'll constantly be changing and morphing, and so it's a fantastic opportunity, and it was lovely to hear. We weren't there on the day of the recording in Liverpool, but when it came back to then hear this interpretation is always a lovely surprise. So Variant 5 is a piece from the ballet Borderlands, which was it was the departure point for the whole work was the artwork of Joseph Albers, who was a Bauhaus artist who ended up living in Connecticut, and he was obsessed with colour and the interaction of colour, and that's where the whole genesis for Borderlands came about. And Variant 5, I think, as we were kind of discussing how the borders of the colours and his ratios of colour are kind of some of the principles we try to put in place with the music. And Variant 5 is right in the middle, and it's kind of that moment of the darkness right before everything opens back out again. And we kind of had a narrative arc to it, so we knew roughly what it should be. And he wanted this real sort of alien texture to it, but in a very humane way, which is quite a contradiction, but you get what, you know, Wayne will say these little turns of phrase, and that instantly gives you the idea of what it needs to be, whether it's like a bit of grit in the oyster or whatever it is, and it suddenly makes you go, oh right, okay, yeah. And he's always looking to push things further. Even doing some of the other projects that we work on, you generally get someone come along and say, yeah, if you could just pull back the kind of, you know, pull it back a bit. Whereas Wayne's very much like, no, let's push it further. So the bombasticness of that track as well, I think it was a case of delivering something back and him going, yep, let's just push that another, 20%.